Jimmy on the beat, boy. Jimmy on the beat, boy. Jimmy on the beat, boy.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Double Coverage Podcast. I'm your host, John J. II, and we're going to talk about some NFL tonight. So tell me about the NFL. I'll tell you about the NFL. Listen to this. So we got a special guest coming on the show tonight. You might have heard from him before. We'll get him to that in a second, but we got some stuff on the docket here. We're going to talk about the games this past weekend a little bit, not in too much detail. We're going to talk mostly about the occurrences, the outliers that happened in the games this past week, and also talk about some games going on this coming week, starting with the Thursday night football game with the Chargers facing off against the Chiefs tomorrow at 8:15. Make sure you get your fantasy teams in order. Get those players off your waiver wire because time's running out. So let's talk about our first story of the night. Let's talk about Russell Wilson. I have a special guest with me today, Smitty. Actually, we call him Stainer. Stainer, how are we doing today, man? Yeah. So we got some interesting stuff. We got Russell Wilson up there on the screen. Let's talk about Russell Wilson. What happened with the Broncos? A lot of the people in various group chats that I'm in, a lot of people I was talking to, they wanted the man, they wanted the Super Bowl champion, the Super Bowl contender for many times, many years over there at the Seahawks, facing off against his old team, Seahawks, at their stadium. The 12th man, I think, played a role in that game, but that's neither here nor there. What happened in that game to, basically give the win to the Seahawks instead of the Broncos? How did that stun everybody? What transpired to make that happen? Yeah, 2 fumbles on the goal line ain't gonna help you. The goal line defense for the Seahawks was out in full force. Let's just put that out there right here, right now. Okay, please explain. Ball security, obviously an issue. Yeah, it really comes down to the difference. Go ahead. Go ahead. Yeah, 100%. Nathaniel Hackett, obviously some accolades for him, but never coached in the NFL. That's something that definitely should be brought forth. I think, and Russell even said it in a post-game presser. He said, "I think Coach Hackett made a great call. We made a great call as a team to, go for the field goals when we did, even commending the field goal at the end of the game." And that was kind of surprising to me. I don't know what they're telling him, what they're putting in his Kool-Aid over there, for Russell Wilson in pre-games, and then maybe in the Gatorade cooler. I mean, I don't know what they're putting in there, but he commended the coach. And I think personally, and, you know how I like to paint narratives. I think that Russell might have had some PTSD going for some of those goal line plays going back to, that Super Bowl against the Patriots. I think we all know what happened there, but that we don't have to rewrite history right here, right now, but I think there was some PTSD there. There's some gingerbreadedness going on the field goal calls for sure, not going for it on 4th downs, fumbling the ball, and the lack of ball security on the goal line, and just the lack of execution from your Super Bowl quarterback. And it's a culmination of all of those things to attribute to the loss, playing scared, scared money don't make money, that type of mentality. So I mean, it is what it is. I guess starting your season 0-1, never how you want to start off. Um, but here's the question I got for you: do the Broncos have hope going, forward from this game going into the rest of the season? Do they have hope, or are they dead in the water? 100%. It's going to put some uncertainty into your mind. And yeah, like you said, accolades, and you can't get enough accolades or praise to Geno Smith and the Seattle Seahawks. Pete Carroll, throw him in there. 70-year-old out on the sidelines getting animated. I love to see it. I've never been a big Pete Carroll guy, but to see him get animated and get behind his quarterback, we've seen success with Geno Smith last year when Russ got injured. But we got to have a lot of faith in this team. I think everyone undermined the Seattle Seahawks, especially going into this game against the Broncos. Strong team, strong players in all different places, offense, defense, special teams, you name it. They have strong suits everywhere, and they just didn't come out to play. Period. End of story. And that's really all you can say about it. 100%. Brandon Smith, everybody. Smitty, thank you so much for tuning in. We'll be sure to bring you on next time and talk some more sports. Thanks, buddy. All right, we'll see you. Moving on, ladies and gentlemen. Let's talk about Dak Prescott. So, Dak, he injured his thumb, fractured his thumb. Week 1, he's out. So, first and foremost, rest in peace to all the fantasy teams that had Dak Prescott as your quarterback. Now, some things to know going into it. If you drafted Dak Prescott, you're not going to draft a quarterback that you knew this going in. You're not going to draft a quarterback that is solid at staying healthy. He's not going to be solid at staying healthy. Yes, he can get plays done. He can hand it off to Zeke, get the job done on the ground. He can put people in places. He can put the ball where it needs to be when he has to. I've never been a Cowboys fan, never will be. I have people in my corner that are huge Cowboys fans, and to each their own. I respect them and all that. But as far as their NFL team choice, and there's different reasons why they chose the Cowboys and all that, but you're not going to pick Dak Prescott if you want a solid quarterback that's going to stay healthy and is going to give you good gameplay throughout the duration of the season. That's just not who you're going to bring on. So, talking about that, I mean, looking at that very, very objectively, you're going to know that going into it. So, he fractured his thumb. Now what? They're looking at anywhere from 8 to 9 weeks. Now, I'm not a scientist. I'm not a mathematician. But looking at that very objectively as well, I have to look at the facts. That is more than half of the season, likely at least half of the season going into the postseason from that point on. You're in December by that point, late December, maybe early January. And then, so you got Cooper Rush. Cooper Rush is your only option. Now, what do you do if you're the Dallas Cowboys, Jerry Jones, and Jerry's world? What do you do? And this is worst case scenario. Now, there's other projections that we'll get into here momentarily. What do you do? So, do you draft another quarterback? Do you ride Cooper Rush as hard as you can? Do you coach him into being a quarterback that can get the job done on the field and not, stutter and not make scared plays, not play scared football? That's not what you want. Especially the Dallas Cowboys have a certain amount of a reputation to hold up. Now, that reputation hasn't been very apparent as of late, and I haven't seen much of it for my career as an NFL fan, but that's neither here nor there. What are they going to do? That's up in the air. We don't know. Nobody knows. I don't even think Jerry knows. Mike McCarthy definitely doesn't know because, listen, he's just worried about what's on the menu. Okay, he's starting to accumulate some of those Andy Reid jokes that we were throwing at him. You know what I'm talking about. He's looking at the play sheet, looking at the playbook. He's got a big laminated page in front of him. And then there's memes of, the opposite perspective, Andy Reid's perspective in this case, and he's just looking at a Waffle House menu. He's dialing in his menu up to the upstairs booth. And yeah, and at halftime we don't see him much because he's probably chowing down. I've never been a big Mike McCarthy fan either. I'm trying to look at it, and without going off on a tangent too much, I'm trying to think about the NFL coaches that I am a big fan about. That might be a separate show, but let's talk about the Cowboys. So Jerry Jones, Mike McCarthy, and others have said this is not a big injury. This is something that is very minor. It's very minute. This is going to be gone within, 3, maybe 4 weeks. We're going to get Dak back on the field. He's going to be healthy. That throwing thumb, as long as he's handing it off to Zeke for most of the time or whoever's in the backfield, he's not really worried about that throwing thumb. Okay. And now if you're a sports science guy like myself, I try to think about how much does the thumb affect the passing of a football. Now, it definitely affects the grasp of the football, to grab the football and to have control of it. You need that opposable thumb that us as humans have been blessed to be given. But I don't think the thumb is everything. I think if you can make that thumb stable enough to be able to hold a football, at least give it as much support as possible, you're going to be able to throw the ball. Now, ball security might be an issue. Obviously, that thumb is, coaches, personnel are not going to want that thumb to get hit a whole lot. Dak's already had his fair share of terrible injuries, terrible hits, and we don't have to dive into that. But I am concerned about Dak's health. He's almost like the Derrick Rose of the NFL, very injury prone, doesn't heal quickly. And it's just, we've seen it all the time. I've told people on podcasts in the past, probably last year primarily, that I think Dak Prescott looks a hell of a lot better with a headset on. And there's a couple people that I can tell you that look better with a headset on. But, it is what it is. Who else is injury prone in the NFL that is going to be a threat and is going to be a liability on your fantasy team? Christian McCaffrey. We've seen it happen multiple times. I've had him on multiple fantasy teams, and he's let me down. When he's on the field, he doesn't let me down. He plays well. But when he's injured, he's not scoring me any points. So that's what I'm concerned about Dak. Is his health going to be undermined? Are they going to try to rush him back into a quarterback position, put him on the field quicker? I don't really know. It's gonna be a time will tell kind of thing. By week 4, week 5, if we don't see Dak, it's probably not a good thing. That means they're going to want to put some hardware in that thumb. They're going to want to build that thumb back up to health, so he can be back out there slinging the pigskin, going into the postseason. But Cooper Rush, an up and comer, big family guy, and he had some great performances last year when Dak was injured. And I say when Dak was injured, I say it very lightly because Dak is injured quite often. There's a lot of these things that we can kind of call, we can see happen when certain events transpire. Especially, it's very unfortunate when week 1 you have injuries. You have Keenan Allen going out for the Chargers. That changes their entire dynamic within the wide receiver section of their offense. Going against a team like the Chiefs, it's going to be tough to tell. We're going to have to see how that transpires. I am not hopeful for Dak. That's just my personal take. I don't think he's going to heal quickly. He never has, and I don't think he ever will. He's not getting much younger, so that body's going to take much more time to heal. So I would look for Dak to be on the sidelines with a headset on, talking, conversing, ordering Waffle House from the headset and from the on-field menus. And I could see that happening at least into week 6, week 7 maybe. Then they might want to test him out. If he's feeling pretty good, he might be getting some practices in, and he might want to see the field, might want to try out throwing some passes, taking some snaps under center. You don't want to jam that thumb either. I don't know what hand he has on top, but you don't want to take a chance with that one. You want to let it heal. Let it run its course, and go from there. Next up, we have good old Baker. We have good old Baker Mayfield. So if we take a look here, the same thing happened to Baker Mayfield that happened to Russell Wilson and the Broncos. And something that's very unfortunate in all of this is both these quarterbacks, they switch teams. Now they're on different teams, different franchises, different coaching styles, different rosters, all that. And they lost by 1 or 2 points to their previous team. The Browns beat the Panthers 26-24 at the Panthers house. I guess that's where you flip the script, because they're playing at the Panthers house, where in Russell Wilson's case, they're playing in, bad guy territory as far as Russ is seeing it. They were playing away at Lumen Field. So to look at this objectively, that's what we do over here on the podcast. Any podcast that we talk about, you're going to hear me talk. It's all objectively. All right. That means we're looking at the facts. We're looking at everything that's right there in front of us. If it's something that you have to draw too many conclusions, chances are you're still going to hear that story. You're going to hear that take. But take everything that I say subjectively, so the opposite of objectively. Take it all with a grain of salt. And I try to pertain to the average viewer out there because, let's be honest, my views are very much in resonation with the views of most of the Gin viewers. I wouldn't say all, but we'll say most. So let's just look at some stats. Christian McCaffrey, 10 carries, 33 yards, averaged 3.3 yards, had a touchdown. Baker also had a rushing touchdown, so you got to be happy for them. The receiving guard, you have Robbie Anderson that had a touchdown, and the offense played well. It's too little, too late, and you just can't tell with Baker. Baker is a guy that is tough to read. He's tough to read early on. You can't really see how the rest of the season is going to transpire until you see the rest of the season happen. So he's a guy that you can't really predict super well. You can see which way he's going. He's not injury prone like Dak Prescott, Christian McCaffrey. Christian made it through week 1, so we're happy about that. Hopefully he can stay healthy. He's going to get your fantasy team a lot of points if you keep him out there and he stays healthy. He's going to get a lot of touches out there. Him and Baker are going to work together. But it's a story of too little, too late. The Browns came out in the first half 17-7 going into halftime. They went on to score a field goal, and then they kind of went cold. But what are they doing? What are the Panthers doing for the rest of the game? They are playing a Matthew Stafford, Detroit Lions fourth quarter comeback, and it's too little, too late. We've seen it happen millions of times with Stafford and the Lions, and sometimes it worked, sometimes it didn't. The vast majority of times, it didn't work. So the too little, too late scenario, you never want to be fighting from behind, fighting for your life, especially if you're down, 10 points, 10, 13 points. It's never a good feeling. It's never a good way to conduct a football game, never a good way to have, good PR on the sidelines, because you got to have good PR. You got to have high hopes. You got to have high spirits. So new team dynamic, new quarterbacks. There's going to be some problems. There's going to be trouble in paradise no matter what the dynamic is. So I see why these teams have faced these week 1 woes, because they just don't know what they're dealing with yet in an on-game, in-game scenario. That's also the detriment of some of these first-string guys not playing in the preseason, because they don't know how to conduct themselves. They don't know how to react to their team chemistry in the first few weeks, because these guys have never played. Some of these guys have never played with each other before. They played against each other. They might have went to high school, might have went to the same college, but the dynamic is off. Something is off. So you're looking for those teams that have that dynamic, the Buffalo Bills, the Minnesota Vikings, teams like that, where, they have the dynamic, they're building on the dynamic, they're building on the chemistry, and they're trying to, be exponentially progressive with their team chemistry and their team dynamic. And I can go on and on about teams that have that, teams that have lost it. Obviously, Tyreek Hill and the Kansas City Chiefs, we see some holes in that offense. Obviously, they went off without a hitch in week 1. Another team, Devontae Adams leaving the Green Bay Packers. You're going to see some additions to the team that he went to with the Las Vegas Raiders. And that's going to be impressive to watch. But looking at the Green Bay Packers too, week 1, they usually don't start off too good regardless of who they have, but they're going to have to turn it around quick if the Packers want to win the NFC North. So looking at that, we are going to move on to the games this coming weekend. So I am excited for this season because there's a lot of shifting that has gone on. There's a lot of player carousel. We talk about this in the GCP quite a bit. We talk about, just how players have changed teams, how players have, switched things up, how they've flipped the script and turned it on its top, turned it on its head. And how is that going to affect everything within the season, team dynamics, team matchups, player matchups, 1v1s, player props, and going to the betting side of things? That's what we want to look at. So, it's going to be really exciting too. And I couldn't be happier that we're in week 2, going into week 3 of college football, which we're going to be talking about more about tomorrow. We're hopping into the GCP with the booth with Cody, the man, Al Massey, tomorrow, and we're excited for it. So let's look at the Chiefs and the Chargers. So looking at the Chiefs and the Chargers playing at Gayha Field at Arrowhead, two teams, two quarterbacks that are going to be going at it. And I don't know. I don't know how you pick this one aside. How do you pick this one aside? You look at a team like the Chargers, right? Look at a team like the Chargers. Justin Herbert, can he get the job done? Still a young quarterback. You lose a wide receiver like Keenan Allen to injury. How does that change the dynamic in LA? Obviously, you got Austin Eckler rushing. He's going to be doing the most. He's going to be doing everything he can. And it is what it is. Let's look at the injury report. So first of all, we have a spread of 4 here. The money line is plus 175 going to the Chargers, minus 210 for the Chiefs. Plus 4. Do we like plus 4? Obviously, we like plus 4 more than minus 4. But is this game going to come down to just over a field goal? I don't really know. I think it's too early to tell. The match predictor they're calling out the Chiefs to win this one. I don't have enough faith in the Chiefs yet. I don't have enough faith in the Chiefs. Patrick Mahomes, he's listed as questionable. He's going to play, but he took a hard hit in week 1, fell on that shoulder. He acted like he was fine, but is it going to actually be fine against this also roughed up Chargers team? Let's look at the IR. So Donald Partham Jr., the tight end for the Chargers, he is out. Keenan Allen is out. J.C. Jackson, a corner, he is questionable going into today. Then you look at the Chiefs. Trent McDuffie, cornerback, IR, he's out. Harrison Butker, he is out. Trey Smith is questionable, and Pat Mahomes is also questionable, but he's going to play. That's just an oversight. So if you want my pick, I'm going to look back at this video too in this podcast. We're going to see how we did. Okay, give me the Chargers plus 4. And that's a bold, hot take. And I think they're going to do it. I think they're going to make it happen there in Arrowhead. And that's on Prime Video. That's happening this Thursday Night Football. Really excited for that one. And we'll see what happens. Let's dive right into it. We're going rapid fire here. Moving forward, the Commanders and the Lions at Ford Field, 1 p.m. on Sunday. Detroit Lions minus 1.5. Now, we've seen a close game between the Eagles and the Lions. I had the pleasure of being in attendance at that game. That was a close game. Okay, the Lions covered that game, but they were projected to lose. Eagles were the favorite. So Detroit Lions minus 1.5. Do I take the Honolulu Blue, or do I push them to the side and say, Dan Campbell, I don't know if you can get it done. I don't know. That's a tough one. I might have to think about that one for a sec. Let's circle back to that one. Let's look at Jets and Browns. Don't even have to look at how the Jets are doing. Joe Flacco, he's an older guy. Yes, he got the job done in Baltimore, but I think he's washed up. I think he's getting to the point where he's getting too old. He didn't do bad in week 1, but you got to give me the Browns. Give me the Browns money line. They're listed as minus 6.5. You know what? Give me the Browns minus 6.5. I like it. Give me it. And then you got the Bucks and the Saints in New Orleans. Tampa Bay minus 2.5. Give me that one. Over under 44. We're not going to touch that. Let's just do Tampa Bay minus 2.5. I love my Bucks. And Tom Brady, he's a GOAT. Moving on, Panthers, Giants, New York Giants minus 2. New York Giants minus 2. You read that correctly. Yes, they did beat the Titans in week 1, but we're going to look past that. We're going to look at week 1 as a fluke. It didn't really happen. It's something that is in the past, way in the past. So give me Baker and the Panthers to win that game money line. And it's got to be plus odds. It's got to be plus odds, maybe even plus 110, 120, 130, something like that. Give me the Panthers. Then you got Patriots, Steelers, New England minus 2. Steelers got the job done. Najee Harris, questionable, but I think he's going to play after taking another tough hit. These guys got to get, and I want to get pissed off right now, but I don't want to ruffle too many feathers too early. And it's not worth it. It's not worth the effort to get pissed off about this. But I'm going to say that these guys, they're playing a combat sport. They're playing football. It's battle out there. You're not out there playing tiddlywinks and, hopscotch and jump rope. It's not that type of gig. You got to be expected to take a hit, one, and to deliver a hit, two. If you can't do either of those things effectively, and you can't be the hammer, you wind up being the nail, then you're going to get hurt. Okay? A very prominent, strong, smart coach of mine in the high school football era, he'll remain nameless for now, but he said that good things happen at 100 miles an hour, and I believe that, and I took that into my my high school career, and I had a lot of great hits. Good things happen at 100 miles an hour. Don't ever forget that. Give me Mac Jones and the Patriots -2. I'm not a Steelers guy. They're towards the bottom of my shit list of NFL teams, but I think the Patriots faced a fluke in week 1 as well with that loss, as well as the Steelers did with their win. So no harm, no foul, no hate towards Mitch Trubisky. He is a ancient Bills Mafia guy. He played for the Bears for a short stint, but we're not going to worry about that. Give me Patriots -2. Colts, Jags, Indy -4. Oh, man. Talk about a barn burner. Talk about a game where you just don't want to watch it. It's on CBS. If you don't have CBS, don't feel bad, because you might rather watch paid programming than to watch this Colts Jags game. Just saying that. Don't get discouraged. Don't get discouraged, bent out of shape, anything. Stay away from this game at all costs. Dolphins, Ravens, Baltimore -3.5 against the Dolphins. This is going to be a dogfight. To be honest with you, I don't trust the Ravens just as much as I don't trust the Kansas City Chiefs. This is another trap game. Stay away from it. I think Tua is going to go off, though. Give me the Dolphins with the points. And people are going to give me a lot of shit for that. Then you got Falcons, Rams, LA Rams -10.5. Do we have the faith? Did the Rams also face a fluke in week 1 against the Bills? I don't think they did. I think it was how it should have happened all along. And for those of you that picked the Rams against the Bills, you're dead to me. I'm not going to touch that game either. Keep it out of your bet slips. Don't even send me any bet slips with that game on it. Okay, if I see one with Indy and Jags, if you took Indy over the Jags money line, then that's fine. But don't touch this Falcons Rams game, please, for the love of God, don't. Then you got Seahawks 49ers, San Francisco -8.5. Give me the Seahawks with the points. After watching Geno Smith go against the Broncos and win, I don't care if it was a fluke or not. I have faith in the Seahawks team, and they showed me something that I was very surprised to see, and that was team chemistry and hard hitting. So they're doing something right over there in Seattle. Give me the Seahawks with the points. I think that's my lock of the week. Then you have Bengals, Cowboys, Cincinnati -7.5. I like Bengals money line. Cooper Rush, I just don't think he's ready to play. I don't think he's playing like he's ready to play. So for that reason, give me the Bengals money line. Not going to mess with the points there. It's over a touchdown. That's in our red flag zone of betting the spread. So Bengals money line, lock it in. Texans, Broncos, Denver -10. I think that's, like Smitty said earlier, I think that's a little bit of an overshoot. I don't think we take that kind of points away. They just hit a draw against the Indianapolis Colts. Now that's a true barn burner. This game against the Jags is only a notch up above that. The Texans had a great fourth quarter comeback, and they almost made it happen against Indy. Couldn't get it done in OT, though, and that one ended in a tie. Always sucks to start the season off with a tie, but it's even worse to have it start with a loss. I'm going to stay away from this one too, but give me the Broncos money line. Cardinals, Raiders, Las Vegas -5.5 against my Cards. Okay. Do they have the tools to do it? Yes, they do. Do they have the tenacity to do it? That I don't know. Give me the Cardinals with the points. Lock it in. Then you got the NFC North matchup that everyone's been waiting for, the Bears against the Pack. Over under 42, Green Bay -10. like I said, man, they always start off slow and steady, that being the Green Bay Packers. I really want to see I want to see the Bears win this game, and I'm not the Bears guy. Team Yonan, what's going on, brother? Thanks for tuning in. We're going to have you on the podcast very soon, so be ready for that. Bears Packers, though. Bears Packers. Are we excited for it? Yes, we are. Bears with the points. Lock it in. Bears plus 10 in Lambeau. Monday, we got the Titans against the Bills. Buffalo minus 10. Do we want to mess with that spread? That's the question of the week. Do we want to mess with that spread? I don't know. I think I do. Give me the Bills minus 10. I love the Bills Mafia. For those of you out there, these people that kind of drive me up the wall. And I'll tell you why. I had somebody tell me the other day that I'm a Buffalo Bills bandwagoner. And I had to stop in my tracks. I had to drop everything and I had to acknowledge it because I am many things. But the one thing I am not is a bandwagoner with any team. I've been a devout Buffalo Bills fan for probably the better half of 5 years now, going back into the past. So it's just false information. It's fake news. If you hear people say that, if I heard it, which I did, you just don't believe it. You brush it off and you forget about it. And you consider that person's opinion to be irrelevant going forward from there. So last game on the Monday night docket. You got 2 games on Monday Night Football on September 19th. So look forward to that. That's a little bit of a treat on a Monday night. You got the Vikings and the Eagles. Philly minus 2. I really like this Vikings team. Kirk Cousins is my boy. Had great stats in week 1, 2 touchdowns, 277 passing yards, 23 for 32. Give me the Vikes. Give me the Vikes money line. And the Vikings are the team that I like the most in the NFC North, just to be clear. We got NFC North matchups happening. They're going to be happening more and more. People still say there's a 68% chance that the Packers win the NFC North. Do I think that's cap? I think I do. I think the Vikings are coming for it. I think they're gonna come out and make it happen. They embarrassed the Packers in week 1. So I'm gonna make a bet right now, a future bet. I don't think it's too early to do it. Maybe it's too late. And I'm gonna say the Vikings. Take the Vikings to win the NFC North. You heard it here first. I'm gonna be making a clip about it. Once it happens, I'm gonna go back to this exact podcast and say this is something that happened. I predicted the future. You can call me Nostradamus. I'm looking at the map. I'm looking at the writing on the wall, and we're gonna make it happen. So you heard it here first, ladies and gentlemen. Starting to wrap it up here. I hope your fantasy team's doing good. I'm 2-1 for counting all my fantasy teams. That's going to be a very big record, but I'm going to count my wins and losses kind of, together in succession with each other. But it's still very early in the season. Got to play the waiver wires, got to play the trading game, and got to get in people's heads. If you're not getting in people's heads, they're going to let the power go to their heads. And then before that, or after that, it's too late. And then you're falling short. The next thing you know, you're 3-8, and it's too late. So you're gonna be playing from behind like Matt Stafford and the Detroit Lions back in their heyday, or like Baker Mayfield and the Carolina Panthers did this past week against the Browns. So we'll leave it at that, guys. I don't want to take up too much of your time, but I want to thank you so much for tuning in and listening to this edition of Double Coverage. I'm your host, as always, John J. II. Make sure to follow me on Twitter and stay updated with all the happenings regarding Gin and all the updates, because it's very exciting stuff. We're just getting into the thick of it, and we're just getting started. So stay with us through the entirety of it all. Until next time, I'm your host, John J. II. Have a great night.